Sometimes the most revealing moments happen when nobody expects them. Not on a red carpet. Not during a big television announcement. Just a scroll through Instagram on an ordinary June afternoon, when fans stumbled onto something they didn't expect to see. A much younger Kelly&Ripa, standing on a beach somewhere, cradling a baby wrapped in a towel, sunglasses on, hair blowing across her face. It wasn't posted by a tabloid. It wasn't leaked. It was tucked quietly into a birthday tribute video, buried among dozens of other photos, easy to miss if you blinked. And yet people didn't blink. They stopped. They rewound. They screenshotted it. Because that photo wasn't really about a bikini at all. It was about time. The picture surfaced when Kelly posted a video montage celebrating her daughter Lola's 25th birthday, and somewhere in that reel was a throwback shot. Kelly in a black bikini top and a striped swim skirt, holding baby Lola against her chest. It's the kind of image that could only mean something to a parent. That specific, physical memory of holding a child who no longer exists in that form, who is now, impossibly, a quarter-century old and building a life of her own. That's really what stopped people in their tracks. Not the swimwear. The math. If you've ever scrolled past an old photo of your own kid, or yourself holding your kid, and felt something catch in your chest, you already understand why this moment resonated the way it did. Kelly&Ripa didn't share this picture to make a statement about fitness or beauty. She shared it because it was Lola's birthday, and somewhere in the middle of choosing music and captions and filters, she found a photo that made her stop scrolling too. There's something almost unbearably tender about a parent publicly marking a child's growth by reaching backward instead of just celebrating the present. Most birthday posts are about who someone is now. This one was about who they used to be, small enough to be carried, small enough to be wrapped entirely in a towel, small enough that a mother's arms could still contain the whole of them. And that's the emotional trick of a rare photo like this one. It isn't rare because no one has ever seen Kelly&Ripa in a bikini before. Anyone who's followed her for more than 5 minutes knows she's never been shy about sharing beach photos over the years. It's rare because of what's in it. A baby who is now a grown woman. A version of motherhood that only exists in memory now. A version of Kelly that, in some ways, doesn't exist anymore either. Not because she's changed physically but because that specific chapter, the one where Lola fit in her arms like that, is permanently closed. It's worth sitting with why a moment like this travels the way it does online. Celebrity culture trains us to look at photos like this and immediately reach for surface-level reactions. Comments about how toned she looks, how little she's aged, how she still has it. And sure, some of that conversation happened because it always does. But underneath the surface-level comments, there's usually something quieter driving the engagement. Recognition. People weren't just looking at Kelly&Ripa. They were looking at their own timelines. Their own babies who grew up. Their own bodies that carried children and changed and kept going anyway. That's the thing about Kelly&Ripa's public persona that's kept people watching her for over 2 decades, through All My Children, through Live, through every format change and co-host transition. She's never pretended to be untouched by time. She jokes about aging constantly, sometimes self-deprecatingly, sometimes defiantly. She's talked openly over the years about the discipline behind her fitness. The 6-day-a-week training, the strength work, the cardio, the dance-based routines she's leaned on for well over a decade with the same trainer. None of that is presented as vanity for its own sake. It's presented, again and again, as something closer to ritual, a way of feeling steady in a life that's been anything but predictable, one that's spanned 3 kids, a marriage in the public eye, and a career that's required her to show up on camera, unfiltered, almost every single weekday morning for the better part of 30 years. And that history matters here because Kelly&Ripa's relationship with how the public looks at her body has never been simple. There was a stretch of years where she was mocked online for her figure, criticized as too thin, too worked out, too something. She's addressed it directly more than once, at times with humor, at times with something closer to exasperation, essentially telling critics that she works hard, she's earned the right to feel good in her own skin, and she's not interested in apologizing for it. So when a photo like this resurfaces, one that shows her not performing for a camera, not posing for an ad campaign, but simply existing on a beach with her infant daughter, there's a kind of quiet vindication in it. This wasn't content. This was just a mother's arms, a beach day, a life being lived before anyone was paying close attention. It's also worth noticing what wasn't in the frame. No red carpet. No stylist. No campaign partnership. Just Kelly. Her daughter, the ocean wind messing up her hair instead of a blowout holding it in place. In an era where so much of what we see from public figures is curated within an inch of its life, there's something almost disarming about a photo that clearly wasn't meant for an audience at all when it was taken. It became public decades after the fact, repurposed not as a flex, but as a love letter from mother to daughter. And that's really the through line of Kelly and Mark Consuelo's entire public life together, isn't it? For all the banter, the teasing, the playful bickering, they've turned into a genuine television dynamic on their morning show. The through line has always been family. 3 kids, raised largely out of the spotlight compared to how visible their parents are. A marriage that stretched nearly 30 years in an industry that isn't exactly famous for stability. People don't stay emotionally invested in a couple for that long because of chemistry alone. They stay invested because, over time, small moments like this one, a birthday tribute, a throwback photo, a caption calling a grown daughter, the love of our lives, build up into something that feels real, not performed. Real. That's probably the actual reason this photo made the rounds the way it did. Not because of a waistline. Because of what it represented. A mother marking time the only way that ever truly matters, by remembering exactly how small her child once was, and choosing to share that memory publicly, unguarded, on the one day a year built for exactly that kind of reflection. There's a particular kind of viewer who watches Kelly and Mark not for the celebrity of it all, but because their relationship, messy jokes, decades of marriage, 3 kids now mostly grown, mirrors something familiar. Watching someone else's family reach these milestones, a 25th birthday, a throwback photo, an old memory resurfacing at exactly the right moment, has a way of making people reflect on their own timelines too. Their own kids. Their own younger selves. Their own beach days that felt unremarkable at the time and turned out to matter more than anyone realized. Maybe that's the real reason so many people remain invested in Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos. Not simply because they've spent decades in the spotlight, but because audiences keep catching these small, unguarded glimpses of something genuine underneath the fame. A birthday caption. An old photo. A mother still marveling 25 years later at how fast it all went. So here's the real question worth sitting with. Was it the bikini that stopped people scrolling, or was it the quiet reminder that time moves faster than any of us are ready for? What do you think? Drop your favorite Kelly and Mark moment in the comments and let us know. Has an old photo of your own kids ever hit you the same way it seems to have hit Kelly?